So thinking back 13 years ago, what was your first impression of the Near Southside and of then Fort Worth South, Inc.?
I didn't really know much about the Near Southside. The way I got introduced was Bob Dolan gave me a call, who had been helping me try to find a job as I just retired from the Navy. And he asked if I knew anything about the organization, and I told him no. He said, well, they have a website, go check it out and call me back, which I did. And I was impressed with what the organization stood for, the vision that they had for this area and to grow this area. And so Bob Dolan helped set up a meeting for the next morning with Don Scott.
So at that point, Don had been on the job about a decade.
Almost 10 years, yeah.
And were there any challenges that he spelled out for you early on or that you recognized as being a key goal?
I think one of Don's greatest contributions was the TIF. He established the TIF 2 years after he had gotten hired, about '97. The first 2 years were negative growth, and here it is 2005, and by that time the TIF was starting to produce some increment.
We were able to do some projects. And at that time, the projects that the TIF was funding were sidewalks here, some help with a park canopy here.
That's right. Yes, that's exactly right. They were small, modest, and they were trendsetters. In other words, you'd take a little section and hopefully that became a catalyst to grow something else.
And it was remarkable that those little improvements, they did make a difference, and they demonstrated the effectiveness of not only the TIF funding, but the organization. What do you see as your top priority after you get started?
Well, Don walked me through the neighborhood, and he was trying to get zoning done. And I knew that we had to get that standardized, and that was going to be hard. That to me was the highest priority early on, because there was going to be development done that wasn't going to conform to the vision.
Absolutely.
Unless we got the zoning.
The rules did not allow all of the development that we see on Magnolia. You couldn't build the same type of building with a mix of uses built up to the edge of the sidewalk.
Once it was approved, the development accelerated.
Absolutely.
The bankers started to get comfortable when asked, why should I risk putting lending on this? And they said, because the standards require all new development conform to this. And the bankers liked that. And so it got us the early on developments, and those developments helped bring on the other ones. The events, we had one when I started in 2005, the Arts Goggle, and that was started under Don Scott. Friday on the Green was a discussion in a marketing committee where I'd suggested music, pocket park musicians when I lived in San Diego. It was very popular, and I threw that out as a concept, and marketing committee matured that thought into what has now become Friday on the Green. And that has truly grown into a huge event and been very popular. And of course, Open Streets was your idea.
With that many people coming to the district, a lot of them, this is the first time they've seen this area, or the first time in a long time that they've seen this area.
The idea at the time was get people down here to get exposure so that they'll come back. And it worked. It has done exactly that.
We're on South Main Street. The street is finally finished construction, all under your watch. This started after you came on board. What does it take to get a project of this magnitude completed?
One of the things that we talked about was we needed the city's leadership and help to be a part of that. In a project of this magnitude, we really needed 3 departments. And we were fortunate that at that time, Fernando Costa was over all 3 of the departments, TPW, Planning Department, and Water Department. And so we sat down with them and we talked through what concepts would be. Now that we have it, it's become the catalyst for development and businesses that we wanted. It's a fulfillment of a wonderful dream that this Main Street would live up to its name of Main Street.
So we're here on Rosedale, looking back. Why did you think it was so important that we work with the city and other partners to retrofit this street after it was widened to 6 lanes?
That it bifurcated the area. It just split it in 2 spots, and that nobody would interact. It would separate it into north and south. And the only way you could ever bring it together was to soften it with streetscape and actually add the parking on the north and south lanes. It transformed the way the area was looking, and Rosedale is the key entry point, east and west. Rosedale retrofit actually helped Magnolia. It helped Main Street. It helped people slow down and say, I want to take notice of this area because they saw Rosedale had transformed itself.
What's your outlook on the future of the organization and the district as a whole?
I think the Near Southside has just started its really big growth. So I think the future is very bright.
You and Don before you have set a tremendously high standard of leadership. We're committed to continuing that progress throughout the district.
I'm expecting big things, and I wish you all the best.
All right, we'll do it.